NASCAR Cup Series race. Here are your hosts, Kevin Batstone, NASCAR Sky, and Jeff Davis.
Welcome back, race fans, to another great episode of MASH, the Gas Podcast. I'm Jeff Davis, and joining me shortly is Mr. Kevin Batstone and Miss NASCAR Sky. We're here to cover the Cookout Southern 500 from Darlington Raceway. And I'll tell you what, Sky, who killed it this weekend?
Well, I definitely got to give it to the 19 team and Chase Briscoe there. I remember a few weeks ago, I guess it's been a little while now. It was probably a good chunk of races ago. They said that they started to look into Truex's notes, Truex Jr.'s notes, and I think that that's just really worked for them. I mean, they've been consistent with speed all year. It's good. It's good to see, and I'm glad. I want to see how far they can get in the playoffs this year.
Back-to-back Southern 500 wins. First year at Joe Gibbs. I think everyone's going, yeah, these guys definitely made the right pick. And locks himself into the round of 12. 309 laps led. I mean, just domination there. I mean, Tyler Reddick was definitely charging there at the end. I felt like he raced him clean. He could have run him up into the fence on the last lap, but he didn't. So class act moved there by Tyler Reddick. But yeah, the Toyotas were strong for sure. Denny Hamlin definitely had some up and downs throughout this race. A lot of playoff drivers had a lot of issues in this race, guys. So going to have to do some digging out as we move into St. Louis.
Yeah, absolutely. And Chase Briscoe, I mean, you got to give him props, man. Thumbs up for him. You know, second year in a row winning the Cookout Southern 500 and getting his second Cup win or his second win there. But yeah, punches his ticket in, man. I think he did a kick-ass job. Tyler Reddick gave him a hell of a run throughout the entire race for the most part. I was really kind of pulling for the old 45 of Tyler Reddick. You know, with all the stuff going on with the lawsuit and Michael Jordan and everything, I just, 23XI or 2311, same thing. And then, Front Row Motorsports, I feel really bad for these guys because it's still up in the air. But really cool to see, James Small and Chase Briscoe getting her done in Martin Truex form and just a different guy in the seat of the 19.
Yeah, for sure. That lawsuit. I mean, we'll probably get into it in a little bit, all the text messages and everything that were kind of released since the last time that we hopped on the podcast. But I thought it was a good day for some drivers, a lot of non-playoff drivers. It was good to see Eric Jones and John Hunter Nemechek. They both scored top fives there. And Jimmy Johnson was excited on X. He was making some posts. AJ Allmendinger too. I mean, he's someone, this track is, too tough to tame. So it's good to see someone that's been around for a while show some veteranism, I guess, to score a top five. Bubba Wallace, Denny Hamlin. I mean, that's who I chose last week. And Kyle Busch, everybody gets free chips and queso or something at Cheddar's because he finished top 8. How cool is that?
Hey, we'll take free stuff. That's definitely good. And Kyle Busch's year has just been so rough. And we've talked about not only his bad luck, but just horrible mistakes on his end. Just a lot of up and downs for him. His teammate is in the playoffs. He's not. So that's got to be frustrating. But yeah, I mean, the Toyotas did great. You mentioned Eric Jones, John Hunter Nemechek. I mean, that's just great work by those guys. And Bubba Wallace had a great run as well, led 10 laps. 2311 definitely came in there making a statement to NASCAR after that, what I thought was kind of a firestorm, disastrous court hearing on Thursday. We'll definitely break that down in a bit. But how about old Carson Hocevar, as Lee Diffie likes to call him, the Hurricane, out there ruffling feathers, getting pissed off, comes on the radio and was like, I can't drive it, worst car I've ever driven, and then comes back to finish 9th. But it wouldn't be a NASCAR Cup Series race without Carson Hocevar.
And Hocevar, he just keeps ruffling them feathers. I mean, he came out and said on the radio, he doesn't care about the wrath of Rick Hendrick and all that. I thought it was kind of funny because he got into it a few times with Chase Elliott during this race. But, he said, F him, I don't care who he drives for. But what he doesn't remember, I guess, is Spire is pretty much co-owned by Rick Hendrick and part of his organization. So I think he needs to pull it back a little bit because he's got a lot of guys pretty pissed off at him this year. I mean, Ryan Blaney called him a moron earlier this year, and Ryan Preece said he'll have his day. Ricky Stenhouse said he threatened to beat his ass. Old Austin Dillon called him the big dumbass. So I know the fans out there love it. He's ruffling them feathers, like I said, and it's good to see that kind of excitement in the sport. But as a rookie, I think he needs to chill it out a little bit and kind of pull back those reins a little bit, control yourself just a tad bit. You know what I mean?
I definitely agree. It just gives me shades of Ross Chastain. I'm sure he'll eventually get it together, but it's good to kind of ruffle some feathers. I feel like in a way, it's kind of builds up a reputation, kind of like you can't be messed with that easily. So eventually people are going to stop messing with them. But I do think somebody in the meantime needs to probably put him in his place so he can kind of realize he can't just race people how they want. But it was a tough day for Hendrick. I think Chase Elliott, P17 is the highest scoring Hendrick driver. Got Larson at 19, Byron at 21. I don't even know. Bowman must have finished pretty far down. He had that disastrous pit stop. It was such a mess. It was just a mess all day on pit road. I think it's those playoff jitters. It's getting to these people. Hopefully they can get it together because pit road, I mean, it is really make or break on there.
Tough pit road for sure. I mean, just difficult to get woed up, get down in there, get into your pit stall. We saw a lot of guys, you mentioned the 48, just bad luck. I mean, and HMS, I feel like is just kind of in a slump a little bit. I mean, obviously William Byron wins the regular season championship, so can't give credit when credit's due. But I mean, Larson, we've talked about how horribly he's qualified these last few weeks. These guys need good finishes, and this is not the way you want to start the playoffs. I mean, I think they're, the 24, the 5, the 9, I feel like they are going to move on into the rounds of 12, possibly the rounds of 8. But, to start your round, with a disaster like this, I mean, when we look just after this race at the playoff standings, I mean, Bowman is not in a good position here to move into the round of 12. I mean, he's sitting there, where is he? 19 points below the cut line. Same with Josh Berry, who got, spun there on the first lap route, the first caution of the race. A disastrous day for Josh Berry, finishing dead last. I mean, we had him in our picks as first to go out, but I think Bowman is now going to be in a tough position. I don't want to say necessarily a must win, but it's going to take these next 2 weeks. He's going to have to be flawless, Jeff.
It's going to be, it's early, I mean, Bowman could still come back. 19 points isn't that far back. Josh Berry, same thing. Like I said, 19 points to the cutoff line. I think they could still pull it off, but they're going to have to come out really, really strong in these next 2 races. That's just what it's going to take, but Hendrick Motorsports did not have it going. They qualified pretty mediocre. And like Sky pointed out, their finishes were terrible, absolutely terrible. So, it's kind of unfortunate there, but I think the big issue this weekend, it wasn't getting your Darlington stripes. That wasn't it. It was actually the pit stops. I mean, Chase Briscoe, I think he totally earned it. He was crushing it. He had a pit stop of 8.1 seconds, which is amazing. And AJ Allmendinger had one at 8.11. So when we saw some of these, incidences or mistakes on pit road, like you were mentioning, Denny Hamlin, he had a 24.2 pit stop there, and that was when they could get the tire off the back right. And it really caused a lot of issues for Denny Hamlin. And same thing with William Byron. If you look at their average pit stop time, it was above 11 seconds. And we're just not used to seeing that, especially when you got guys being able to do it in just barely over 8 seconds. So, yeah, it's like this was a race where we've been talking about the next gen car, and we're having a lot of problems with passing. We know the short track package it's just not there this year. So this is one of those races where you're going to make it or break it on pit road. So if you're going to be able to do pit stop times and not have any mistakes, you're going to win the race.
And it's not just, the pit crew members. I mean, it's the drivers. We talked about how many times have we said Kyle Busch got like 3 speeding penalties a race? I mean, everybody, I know he's not in the playoffs, but these playoff drivers, they really all got to get it together and kind of keep it together in the teams and not let the jitters get to them. Everything that happened in Darlington, let it go. Unless you're Chase Briscoe, then you're probably still celebrating. And yeah, about the passing, I recall Briscoe's spotter. I don't know his name off the top of my head right now, but Briscoe's spotter or crew chief was telling him to back it up and kind of mess with the air on the 45 to kind of get him to ruin his stuff so that later in the run, kind of when Briscoe's car would fall off, the 45 wouldn't have as much to get to him. So the air thing, it's just a big issue. I mean, I like that the teams are kind of trying to find a way to stop it or use it to their advantage, but it does kind of suck because you want to see some good passing, like SVG at the end of stage 1 to stay on the lead lap there. He kind of killed it. It surprised me a little bit to see that he was behind the car there. I do want to say, though, it's just a tough day for a lot of playoff drivers. I mean, Ryan Blaney, I worry about him. Not that I don't think that he has the speed and the talent to make it through, but he has been on the bad end of a lot of things this year. So I worry about him advancing in the playoffs.
Yeah, not the best day for Penske overall. I mean, Joey Logano down there in 20th, obviously Austin Cindric, not really the day he was looking for, especially, with the points needed and just how tight all of this is. But, you mentioned SVG. It was a hell of a drive, to get that free pass position there. You could tell like that championship drive is alive for him, but to, bring it home 32nd, it's just, we kind of calculated the math on this, that he needs to be, if not 20th or better, probably average finishing right around 17th through these 3 races. I think SVG's best option now is, like you said, Sky, he's going to have to rely on someone else's trouble. I mean, St. Louis, difficult racetrack, Bristol, difficult racetrack. These are not, these are seasoned veteran tracks. And so is Darlington for that matter. That's why they call it the track too tough to tame. The passing there, between the package of this car and how difficult Darlington has always been to pass at, right? It's a combination for, what ultimately happened a few years ago, right? When we had the 22 take out the 24 for the win. The 45 could have done that. He had the opportunity. He dive bombed him inside, could have ran him into the fence, chose not to. But that's just a product of this racing. They're putting drivers in positions where they almost have to wreck guys to get around them.
That's really unfortunate because I really like SVG. I mean, Gizzy's got a great attitude. He always brings it to the track with a smile. Just one of the best personalities out there. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Coming in P32, it's not going to cut it. Not going to cut it at all. I mean, we already know that you were mentioning, I think P17, P18 is where he needs to be an average to be able to make the playoffs. Just the next cut. I mean, he's already in the playoffs, but to make the next round. So he needs to step it up, and I don't think these next two tracks are going to be too friendly to him. I really don't. I think I don't think he's going to make it. I really don't. I feel bad for him because, like I said, I like the guy, and it's cool to see him in here full time this year. But I just don't think he has what it takes to make it to the next round.
I don't want to say that he doesn't have what it takes. I'm sure. I don't want to be too mean. I definitely agree with what you're saying. I just feel the reason I have him going through, I just feel like drivers, especially this year, this season, teams, I feel like they've been just shooting themselves in the foot. It's like the easiest things these teams are fumbling. I mean, I can think of a million examples. Kyle Larson spinning himself out from the lead in Charlotte. It's stuff like that that adds up. And that's where I just feel like, I don't know. It's so hard to even guess these playoffs anymore to make these brackets because it's so hard to consider stuff like that. I don't even know anymore.
Yeah, and so much is out of their control. I mean, control what you can control is always kind of the motto. Go in there, don't make mistakes, stuff like that. But I just, it might have been a trackhouse thing. I mean, Ross Chastain had speed, right? He was up battling the top five most of the day. But Chastain has a little bit more experience on these tracks. His teammate Daniel Suarez back there in 25th, not a great running position. And then we mentioned SVG back in 32nd. But yeah, to Sky's point, this is tough. It's just so tough to predict what's going to happen, from mechanical failures to Blaney spinning out to you know, you saw what happened to Brad Keselowski, right? They didn't get the tire tight, had to come down. He stopped in Denny's pits, then they had to hold him out for a lap. There's just so many things happening so rapidly. It's so easy to make mistakes. And I guess that's, to win a championship, you got to be buttoned up.
Yeah, absolutely. But I do want to give a shout out to Tyler Reddick, though. He did come in P2. I think he really kicked ass the whole race. I mean, he even had a little issue in the pits where he was trying to get a tear off. Well, he wasn't, but his crew member was trying to get a tear off the windshield and almost didn't get it off when he was exiting pit road. And obviously with that wreck on the very first lap, Josh Berry gave him a big old donut on the side of his car. So, he kind of was up and down a little bit, but to see him come back like he did, I was really impressed by the 45 car. It's a tough track, like you mentioned, too tough to tame, man. But overall, it was a decent race. I know some people thought it was kind of a snooze fest because Chase Briscoe led so many laps, but he earned it. He really did, just like he did last year. So, a really good race overall for the playoffs to start out. I know the purse is just a little over $10 million. I know we've been talking about the purses and, what it takes to actually race these cars. And, that goes back to the lawsuit with 2311 and Front Row Motorsports against NASCAR. If you don't have a chartered team, your cut isn't as large. Your percentage isn't as big as it would have been if you have a chartered team. So, we're just gonna have to see how that plays out because as we know, if you're not a chartered team, you do not have sustainability to financially make this work in the long haul. And that's what, these guys are fighting for. And I hope they win. I think the NASCAR is being really stingy and they really need to kick it back and give these drivers what they deserve.
About the text messages between, Michael Jordan and what he said about the teams that signed. I think it was, I guess, specifically Joe Gibbs, just calling them some names. And I don't think that it's anything too personal. I think he's just kind of frustrated in the whole situation. But I did see where he was saying that, NASCAR tried to say that, well, 2311, they still make money. And he's like, that's not what it's about. It's about fixing the sport and making sure, everybody gets paid and it's not just a few of us getting paid. So I really like that. And I think it's just a lot of fans, they don't like Denny. And so they're not for the lawsuit, which I think is just incredibly silly because I think overall the lawsuit is just, it's going to better the sport for sure.
Yeah, I agree. And I think a lot of the casual fans, we'll call them, aren't even really aware of the nuts and bolts of how these charters work and, the payouts that Jeff was talking about. I mean, when you just click on the TV and people say, hate Denny Hamlin because he's Denny Hamlin, they have no idea how the sport works and the inner workings of it. Grandfathered charter teams like Hendrick Motorsports and Joe Gibbs, these guys that have earned their keep. And yeah, I think what Michael Jordan said via text message, it's just out of frustration. I understand it. These guys are a championship caliber team, no question. And they want to make it right. They're trying to steer the ship right. That's gone on for a long time. I'm really optimistic that they can win this, but I'm just not sure what that's going to look. I mean, win or lose, it's going to drastically change what happens next. I mean, I don't see things just completely staying the same, but there's going to have to be some changes, Jeff, regardless if they win or lose this. I mean, there's a possibility if they lose, 2311 front row isn't even going to be racing next year. So there's a lot on the line with this.
Yeah, how would you like to feel if you're like Tyler Reddick going, do I have a ride next year? I mean, it's crazy. I mean, these guys have talent in there. It's like they've got good drivers. Bubba Wallace. I just it'd be terrible to see these guys have to lose a ride and try to find them, pick one up somewhere else. It's so tough in the Cup Series, and whether you like him or hate him, Denny Hamlin has become the voice of NASCAR, and he brings out valid points left and right. He does a damn good job at calling it out. Call a spade a spade. Hey, if this is what it is, this is what it is. But this is what's killing the sport, or this is what's helping it. Denny Hamlin has become that. So yeah, he gets the boos a lot of times, but as far as a veteran driver and knowing what the hell's going on with the sport itself, I think he does a damn good job. So listen to him talk and listen to what he has to say about the lawsuit. He's been pretty buttoned up on the lawsuit because obviously he has to because he's involved in it. So he can't go out and say a whole lot of stuff about it. But, I really do hope that they get it settled down and, share the wealth a little bit because we need to see these teams coming out. We love these new teams, these new drivers that are getting up in there. They're bringing some talent. They're bringing race cars that are kicking ass, and they deserve to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, he's the voice for sure. Kind of like Jeff Burton was, in the late 90s. They called him the mayor in the early 2000s. That's his old nickname, Jeff the Mayor Burton. And he was always sticking up for the drivers and the teams and what's best for everything. And, I think that's a good thing because, as Danny calls it, the 10th floor decisions from NASCAR, they such a corporate approach to it now. There's so much money being thrown around, but it's not being thrown in the right directions. We talked last week about how Parker Kligerman can make more money doing a broadcast than he can be a full-time Xfinity Series driver. It's just it's not right. And speaking of the Xfinity Series, we of course got to give an honorable mention to Connor Zilisch. What a fantastic drive up there in Portland.
Man.
I mean, just what a wild 3 weeks. Wins the race in the Glen, breaks his collarbone, starts the race in Daytona. Parker Kligerman wins the race for him, and then goes out and just dominates that race up in Portland, Sky.
Like NASCAR needs to see personalities like that, or just I don't know, just the entire situation. Pump it out, use it. I mean, that could bring so many viewers to the sport. He's so young. It appeals to just younger. I don't know. I just think he's so incredible. What he can do is so talented. I'm excited to see what he can do next year. I hate that it's at the expense of Suarez, but I just feel like he's so talented, and we haven't even begun to probably see his greatness.
Yeah, we're just scraping the surface of him right now. I mean, to win 6 of the last 7 Xfinity races is freaking amazing. And the kid looks like he's 15 years old. I absolutely love it. He's great for the sport. I can't wait to see what he's going to do in the Cup Series. Like you said, at Daniel Suarez's expense a little bit. But what we're seeing out of Zilisch right now, Suarez just doesn't have. Zilisch is just he's bringing the A game. As a matter of fact, he's bringing the A plus plus game. I mean, he's really going out there and crushing it. He's showing that he deserves to be in the Cup Series, and rightfully so. I mean, if you can win this many races, and he's another guy with a great attitude. He's got a great personality. I mean, I love Connor. So to see him win, all for it.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. He's proven himself. I mean, he made his debut at Watkins Glen just over a year ago and goes out there in dominating fashion. So, I mean, he's proven his talent. He's young. Usually we see guys kind of, spend a little bit more time in the rookie series before they move up. But this is a big opportunity. I just hope it's not one of those deals where he gets up there and then has just a terrible season and everyone's like, oh, this, that, and the other. Because let's not forget, I mean, and I'm not taking it away from Connor. He's earned every one of those win stickers on top of that race car in phenomenal fashion. But he's in junior motorsports equipment. It's the best of the best. We saw Suarez go down to it and win in Mexico City. We know that Justin Allgaier, in my opinion, is the favorite to win the championship when we get to Phoenix. And I do think Connor Zilisch will be in that as well. And it's going to be a battle between JRM for that championship. And I still think, Sky, that it's just basically going to be a driver swap. I think Suarez goes down and replaces him there.
I agree for sure. And I hope that it works well for Suarez, and maybe, he can kind of figure things out more, get the speed, get everything he needs, get all of his brackets together so that, in the next few years, I mean, we don't know what's going to happen, what ride's going to open up. He can probably be back up there, and I really love to see it because I think that I really like Suarez. I think that he's a good person and he has a lot of talent. I just think that he needs to just work on the little things and work on the consistency, and he can definitely, be contending for a championship.
Yeah, it's really tough for Suarez. I mean, like you mentioned, Sky, the dude's got a great attitude. He's another one of my favorites as far as personalities go, as far as just always being positive and on everything. I mean, I love Daniel. So, it's been unfortunate because, hey, he was in the 19 car. He was in Chase Briscoe's seat just a few years ago, running that 19. So, to see him go from Joe Gibbs and then, now he's going down to the Xfinity Series, it's kind of a bummer. But when you got someone like Connor Zilic that's just dominating the hell out of the sport, it's like a no-brainer. You got to bring him in. And unfortunately, like you said, it's Daniel Suarez's expense. So unfortunately for him, but I am excited to see old Zilic come up and see what he can do next year. But I want to kind of get your thoughts, Kevin, on, Tony Stewart. What are your thoughts on him right now, Kevin?
Well, I mean, Tony Stewart is definitely, I don't know if you guys caught any of the U.S. Nationals, which wrapped up today, but Tony Stewart just secured the regular season championship for the Top Fuel division, which is just so incredible. The fact what he went through with Stewart Haas Racing last year, and his age, and to step into a completely different motorsport at a competitive level and go out and win the regular season championship, and is battling now in the playoffs is just incredible. He's pretty much done with NASCAR. He's mentioned that. And I think, he's going to go win a championship in NHRA and prove that he can drag race, he can stock car race, he can Indy car race, he can dirt car race. I think Smoke is in position to put himself as one of the greatest, if not the greatest race car driver of all time.
Yeah, I just want to give him a lot of props, man. That was so cool to see him do that today, being the regular season champion. I just want to give a little bit of chronological Tony Stewart history here. It was 1994 when he won the USAC Midget Championship. 1995, he got the Silver Crown in the midgets. But in 1997, he was the IndyCar champion. In 2006, he was the IROC champion. And then a two-time Chili Bowl winner, in sprint cars in '07 and 2002 as well. But yeah, to see him, being a Cup championship as a co-owner in 2014, and then an SRX championship in 2021, and now seeing him in 2025 here at the NHRA Top Fuel regulated season. Awesome, man. Yeah, Tony Stewart, he just has it all, man. He knows how to race. We've always talked about Tony. A lot of people, he ruffled a lot of feathers back in the day as well. Love him or hate him kind of guy, personality. But as far as an ambassador for the sport, just someone that can always race anything, that's why we kind of compare Kyle Larson to him a little bit, because they can run almost anything and get a win out of it. So yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out to Tony Stewart on this one.
Yeah, Tony Stewart's pretty awesome. I don't follow too much of that. I did see that he won that. A few of the NASCAR pages I follow posted that, so that's awesome for him. He's just, I mean, he's like you said, he's probably one of the best drivers ever. I mean, he's been around for way longer than I've even been alive, competing and winning championships. So that's pretty awesome. I'm excited to get through with these playoffs here. We're going to St. Louis next weekend, or I guess this upcoming weekend, I should say. Which Penske, they're pretty good there. So this could be a way for Josh Berry to kind of redeem himself. At this point, I feel like screw the points, this whole win in your in system. It's just kind of, that would be my mindset, is go out there and just get a win where you can get a win.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially these guys we mentioned, like Alex Bowman and some of these guys that I don't know about must win just yet. Possibly we'll see where we're at when we stack up going into Bristol. But SVG, it's going to be interesting for him. He doesn't have a ton of track time here. So, that doesn't help, kind of going to these, it's a difficult racetrack. Jeff and I were talking a little bit off mic. It's similar to New Hampshire, where it's kind of got that flat kind of Martinsville feel to it, but obviously much larger. We're closer to a mile. Austin Cindric, of course, goes out, gets it done. What do we have? Kyle Busch won this thing 2 years ago in almost dominating fashion. He led 121 laps there. So maybe Kyle Busch can get a win. He obviously can't win the championship this year. He, got another top 10, Cheddar's, free fries, or whatever Sky said. Definitely take advantage of that. Maybe Kyle Busch this weekend, guys. What do you think?
I don't know, man. Kyle, he just doesn't have it this year or last year. I just don't see him doing it at all. But, like you mentioned, it's a really flat track. This is one where turns 1 and 2, you only have 11% banking. And then in turns 3 and 4, you only have a 9% banking. So it's going to be really tough. There's going to be a lot of tire wear at this track. Maybe Austin Cindric gets it done again. I don't know, but I'll keep Denny Hamlin up there for sure. I think he's running pretty hot right now. And also Tyler Reddick. He's another one that I'd watch for next week. But it's a really interesting track, really flat, like I said, and it's short track racing, which we're gonna have to see again. How does this package hold up? Are we gonna see any passing at all this time? Because we didn't see a whole lot of passing as far as the cookout went. But next week we might see some. I don't know. It's tough because NASCAR obviously knows that they need to get this package fixed. Until they do it, we won't really see the racing that we want to see as fans. So, next week's it's gonna be fun, but it's gonna be interesting.
It's definitely going to be interesting. And if I'm not a Toyota, I'm definitely it's go time, especially after what happened at Darlington. I mean, like I'm pretty sure it was like majority Toyotas. If I'm a playoff driver, it's time. These the playoff pit crews. I mean, they gotta get it together because you don't want to be the reason, like just the whole Alex Bowman situation that we talked, stuff like that. You can't have that happen. I mean, that is make or break. You can if you're pitting from the lead and something like that happens. I mean, that could be your whole race, your whole season gone just then. So hopefully they can figure pit road out. I'm definitely looking at some Fords. I watched the highlights from last year. I had a little extra time today. Seabell is another one that I would definitely look out for, but I feel like Seabell is just talented all around. It's every single week. I feel like we're talking about him. Blaney, you can put in. But yeah, I'm definitely probably looking at a Ford for this upcoming race.
Hey, Seabell, speaking of Christopher Bell, I think he's awesome. He was quoted just this last week talking about the playoffs. We've talked about the format and changing everything, and Christopher Bell said he'd love to have 36 races count towards the championship. You got to have more than one in the final round. Because if you're going to have a championship of auto racing, it needs to be a full race schedule. So another component or another person just want to bring it out and saying, hey, we need to change the format. And I think going back to the 36 races would be the way to go.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. We've certainly kicked the can around on some playoff ideas and what would make the format better, and it kind of all roads lead back to that. I still don't think NASCAR is going to do it until 2027, and it's still not going to be what we want it to be. But real quick on Seabell, what a tough deal there, right? Getting into it, the 77 on pit road takes out the right front, and then that just killed his night in Darlington. Absolutely killed it. So hopefully that's not a chink in the armor, and take some momentum out of those guys going into St. Louis, because that rest of the night for him was just a disaster.
It definitely was for sure. I was thinking about this earlier about the playoffs. I mean, we all know I think we all agree 36 races. I mean, but I was thinking to play devil's advocate a little bit. Is it really that serious at the same time? Because I was thinking it's not like it's like heart surgery, and it's supposed to be entertaining. It's a sport that's for entertainment, just like football. I mean, we always say it's not a stick and ball sport. Da da da. I don't know. I was thinking of it from this perspective earlier. I still don't like the playoffs. I'm not going to sit here and say I do because I don't like it. I don't like the winning you're in. But I don't. I just think I'm going to give up on complaining so much because it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be enjoyment. Just like any other sport. So I just kind of go with the flow. And if SVG goes out and wins this championship, then you know what? He deserved it. Whatever.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you there in a couple ways. I mean, we've seen hockey and football and baseball change throughout the years, big time, just like NASCAR is trying to do. Whether we agree or disagree, we're always going to have something to gripe about. Keyboard warriors are never going to be satisfied no matter what we do with this format. But correct me if I'm wrong, Sky. I think Joey Logano was quoted last week saying, "Good, change the format. We'll go out and win it anyway."
He did say that, and that's exactly the type of energy I want out of my driver for sure.
Yeah, totally. I mean, he's out there. He's energetic. Let's pull, Jimmy Johnson out there. It doesn't matter what format you put it in. If you're good enough, I'm going to win in every format you got. And that's what really pulls out a true driver that deserves to win because he can win it in every format. Then obviously, he deserves to be a 7-time champion. But, as far as Joey Logano, as far as active drivers right now that are in the playoffs, obviously, when we're talking about the playoffs and winning you're in, I know this has ruffled a lot of feathers with a lot of NASCAR fans, in the last couple of years. Joey Logano having 3 titles, because next to that, you've got singles as far as people that are in the playoffs right now as drivers. You got Ryan Blaney, Kyle Larson, and Chase Elliott all have 1 win as far as the championship itself. They've got the championship, but Joey Logano's got 3. So the winning you're in type of the thing, I think is kind of because of Joey Logano has ruffled a lot of feathers. So, whether they change it or not in the next couple of years, we'll see. I think they will. Like Kevin said, probably in 2027, we'll probably see a different format. But if you want to prove yourself, do what Jimmy Johnson did and win no matter what format it's in.
Well, yeah, and to go off Sky's point, it's this system was designed to award winning a race. I mean, we know that there's the gimmicky, Daytona, Talladega, Robles, road courses. I mean, all that plays into it. That's just part of the sport. And so, really, all these guys can do is control what they can control, and that's going into St. Louis and getting a win. Worldwide Technology Raceway. I'm glad that the Cup Series is going back here. Cup Series didn't start going there until 2-3 years ago now. So, a great crowd out there always. They call it St. Louis, but it's technically in Illinois, so that's kind of an interesting thing there, Jeff. But as far as my pick to win this race, I haven't been getting these right these past few weeks, guys. But I think I have to go Penske, and I'm gonna go with the 12 of Ryan Blaney.
Wow, Ryan Blaney. I mean, I love the guy. I love him. He's been on a heater lately. He's been kicking ass. I don't think I can take him though for this weekend. I'm going to go with, like I was saying, the ambassador of the sport right now, number 11, and Denny Hamlin. Sky, what are you thinking for your pick next week?
I agree with Kevin. I'm going Penske. And it was a toss-up between Blaney and Logano. So since you took Blaney, I guess that means I'm going to go with Logano. I feel like the even odd number year curse, whatever, all that is done with. It got broken last year. He's going through. I have him in my final four, so we'll have to see.
I think these are good picks for sure. And then we'll probably bust our brackets and we'll have Kyle Busch go win this race because that's just typical NASCAR fashion and he needs a win. But either way, it's playoffs. It's the round of 16, and then Bristol follows up after that, guys, which is going to be wild. It's a Saturday night race for Bristol, Sunday here for St. Louis. I think we're going to see some wild storylines. Equipment is going to be big. We've seen brake failures here at St. Louis before with these flat tracks, Jeff, like we're going to see in New Hampshire in a few weeks. That brake heat gets so rough that these rotors just explode. I believe it was St. Louis 2 years ago where we saw that numerous times. So I think mechanical failures could be, the critical factor that can make or break this race.
Yeah, it's amazing how hot those rotors get and those brake pads get. You just see them explode. Like you said, seeing them glow in the dark like they do is just amazing. I think it's one of the coolest things to actually see, though, because it's like bright red. I just absolutely love it. So, yeah, can't wait for the race next week. I think it's going to be fun. And if Denny Hamlin doesn't win, I'm going to go Tyler Reddick. But I already chose Denny Hamlin. But I will think Tyler Reddick, since he did so damn good in this last race, I think he's up there as well. So, time to move it on, Kevin.
So Jeff's committed to the Toyotas. Sky and I are going with the Fords. Sky, any last remarks before we turn it over to St. Louis?
Not a whole lot. I'm just ready to get these playoffs rolling, see kind of where we stack up after Bristol. I'm a little worried for Bristol for a few different drivers. Just because they're good there doesn't mean anything. There's always anything can happen at Bristol. So we'll just have to see.
Yep, it's going to be good. I'm looking forward to it, guys. And we'll be back next Monday night to break down all of the action from St. Louis, the Worldwide Technology Raceway, 240 laps over there on USA. It's the Enjoy Illinois 300. It's interesting how they call it St. Louis, but it's in Madison, Illinois. I've always kind of thought that was funny. Either way, 3 p.m. Eastern Sunday for the race. Be sure to follow us on all social media platforms at Mash the Gas. Follow Sky at NASCAR Sky. Mash that subscribe button on whatever platform you're listening on. Let's go round of 16, race number 2. And until then, y'all.
Mash the Gas.